The most senior Catholic to be convicted of child sex abuse will be sentenced to prison on Wednesday in an Australia landmark case that has polarized observers. Some described the prosecution as proof the Church is no longer above the law, while others suspect Cardinal George Pell has been made a scapegoat for the Church's sins. Pope Francis, former finance minister, who had been described as the third highest-ranking Catholic in the Vatican, has spent 2 weeks in a Melbourne remand jail cell since a sentencing hearing in the Victoria State County Court on February 27, in which his lawyers conceded the 77-year-old must spend time behind bars. Pell had been convicted in December of orally raping a 13-year-old choir boy and indecently dealing with the boy and the boy's 13-year-old friend in the late 1990s, months after Pell became Archbishop of Melbourne and initiated a compensation scheme for victims of clergy sexual abuse. A court order had prohibited media from reporting on the verdict until 2 weeks ago, when prosecutors abandoned a second trial on charges that Pell had groped 2 boys in a public swimming pool in the 1970s. Chief Judge Peter Kidd will sentence Pell on 5 convictions, each carrying a potential 10-year maximum sentence. The sentences for each conviction are likely to be served concurrently. Pell's sentence will also reflect court standards of 2 decades ago when his crimes were committed. In those days, judges placed less weight on the damage done to children by sexual abuse. In an unusual move for an Australian court that acknowledges intense international interest in the case, the judge will allow his sentencing remarks to be broadcast on live television. After centuries of impunity, cardinals from Australia to Chile and points in between are facing justice in both the Vatican and government courts for their own sexual misdeeds or for having shielded abusers under their watch.